Most people have tried budgeting at least once, and most people have quietly given up within the first 2 weeks. Here is what nobody tells you. Budgeting does not fail because people lack discipline. It fails because most people were taught to do it in a way that is unnecessarily complicated, restrictive, and completely disconnected from how real life actually works. In this video, I am going to explain budgeting the way it should have been explained to you from the beginning, simply, clearly, and in a way that you can actually stick to starting this month. Let me start by explaining why budgeting matters far more than most people give it credit for. Money without a plan behaves like water without a container. It spreads in every direction, fills every available space, and disappears faster than you expect. A budget is simply that container. It is not a punishment. It is not a restriction. It is a set of instructions you give your money so that it goes where you actually want it to go. When people operate without a budget, they are essentially making hundreds of small financial decisions every month without any guiding framework. Some of those decisions are fine. Many of them quietly drain money from goals that actually matter: an emergency fund, a family trip, a down payment, a more comfortable retirement. The long-term cost of never budgeting is not just financial, it is psychological. When you do not know where your money is going, you carry a low level financial anxiety that is always present in the background, even when your income is decent. That anxiety affects your decisions, your confidence, and your relationships. A simple, honest budget removes that anxiety because it replaces uncertainty with clarity. And that shift alone is worth more than most people realize. So let me walk you through the complete framework for budgeting, simply 7 principles that together form a system anyone can use, regardless of income level or financial background. The first principle is this: a budget is not about restriction, it is about intention. Most people approach budgeting with the assumption that it means saying no to everything enjoyable. That framing is exactly why most budgets fail. A real budget does not tell you that you cannot spend money on things you enjoy. It simply asks you to decide in advance how much you want to spend, rather than discovering the number after the fact when the damage is already done. When you reframe budgeting as an act of intention rather than deprivation, it becomes something you want to do rather than something you endure. The second principle is: start with your income, not your expenses. Every budget begins with one clear number: how much money comes in each month. This sounds obvious, but many people skip this step and jump straight into listing expenses, which leads to confusion and inaccurate numbers. Write down your total monthly take-home income first. If your income varies month to month, use your lowest reliable monthly amount as your baseline. Everything else in your budget is built on top of this number, so getting it right is essential. The third principle is: divide your spending into 3 clear categories: needs, wants, and savings. This is the simplest and most durable budgeting structure that exists, and it is the foundation of the well-known 50-30-20 rule. Needs are the expenses that are non-negotiable: rent or mortgage, groceries, utilities, transportation, essential insurance. Wants are the expenses that improve your life but are not strictly required: dining out, entertainment, subscriptions, shopping. Savings are the amounts you set aside for your future self: emergency fund, investments, retirement, specific goals. When you see your spending sorted into these 3 buckets, you immediately understand where your money is going and where adjustments are possible. The fourth principle is: every rupee in your budget must have a job before the month begins. This concept is sometimes called zero-based budgeting, and it is one of the most powerful ideas in personal finance. The goal is not to spend all your money. The goal is to assign all your money to a category on paper before the month starts, so that every rupee has a clear destination. If you earn 80,000 rupees per month, your budget should account for all 80,000 needs, wants, savings, debt repayment, everything. When every rupee has a job, there is no mystery about where your money went. You decided in advance and you simply followed the plan. The fifth principle is: track your actual spending weekly, not monthly. One of the most common budgeting mistakes is reviewing your numbers only at the end of the month, which is far too late to make any adjustments. By the time you discover you overspent on food or entertainment, the money is already gone. Instead, do a brief weekly check-in that takes no more than 10 minutes. Look at what you have spent in each category so far and compare it to what you planned. This gives you the ability to course correct mid-month while you still have the opportunity to do so. Weekly tracking transforms your budget from a passive record into an active financial tool. The sixth principle is: build flexibility directly into your budget by including a personal spending allowance. A budget that leaves zero room for spontaneous or personal spending is a budget designed to be broken. Human beings are not robots, and pretending otherwise leads to guilt, frustration, and eventual abandonment of the entire system. Instead, deliberately allocate a small fixed amount each month that you are free to spend on absolutely anything without explanation or guilt. When that amount is gone, it is gone, but while it lasts, you spend it freely. This single addition makes budgets dramatically more sustainable because it removes the feeling of total restriction while still keeping your overall plan intact. The seventh principle is review and adjust your budget every month because your life is not static. A budget is not a document you write once and follow forever. It is a living plan that should be updated as your income, expenses, and goals change. Every month, spend 15 minutes reviewing what worked, what did not, and what needs to shift. Did an unexpected expense appear that you need to plan for next month? Did you underspend in one category and want to redirect that money somewhere more useful? Monthly reviews keep your budget accurate, relevant, and aligned with where your life actually is right now. Let me bring this to life with two straightforward scenarios that show exactly how this works in practice. Consider a young professional earning 60,000 rupees per month after taxes. Before budgeting, she paid her bills, spent freely throughout the month, and saved whatever happened to be left, which was usually very little. After applying the framework from this video, she divided her income into three categories: 30,000 for needs, 18,000 for wants, and 12,000 directed automatically into savings and an emergency fund. She also gave herself 5,000 rupees as a completely free personal allowance each month for the first time. She ended the month knowing exactly where her money had gone, with savings growing and zero financial guilt about the money she did enjoy spending. Now consider a family with a combined monthly income of 150,000 rupees who felt perpetually short of money despite a reasonable income. After tracking their expenses honestly for 1 month, they discovered they were spending nearly 40,000 rupees on dining out and food delivery, more than double what they had estimated. By reducing that category to 20,000 and redirecting the remaining 20,000 toward their emergency fund and a planned home renovation, they completely transformed their financial picture without cutting anything else in their lives. The problem was never their income. The problem was that their money had no instructions. Here is what I want you to do immediately after watching this video. Write down your total monthly take-home income right now, one clear number that everything else is built around. Next, list every expense you have paid in the last 30 days. Go through your bank statements and be completely honest. Categorize each expense as a need, a want, or savings. Then, using the 50-30-20 rule as your starting guide, assign percentages to each category based on your actual income. Adjust those percentages to reflect your real situation if 20% savings is not yet possible. Start with 10 and increase it over time. After that, add a personal spending allowance as a separate budget line, a fixed amount you can spend freely each month with no tracking required. Set a recurring 10-minute appointment with yourself every Sunday to check your spending against your plan and note any adjustments needed. Finally, at the end of the month, sit down for 15 minutes, review the full budget, and update it for the coming month based on what you learned. That is the complete system. 6 steps. No spreadsheet expertise required. No financial background needed. Just clarity, consistency, and a willingness to give your money a direction. Here is what I want you to remember long after this video ends. Budgeting is not a complicated financial skill reserved for accountants or people who are naturally disciplined with money. It is a simple, learnable habit that anyone can build, and once it is built, it changes your entire relationship with money in ways that go far beyond the numbers. When you budget with intention, you stop feeling like money controls you and start feeling like you control it. That shift in financial confidence affects every decision you make, what risks you are willing to take, what opportunities you are able to pursue, and what kind of future you are able to build. The people who are financially secure are not necessarily the ones who earn the most. They are the ones who decided at some point to stop letting money move through their life without direction and started telling it exactly where to go. Your budget is that decision. Make it this month. Start simple, stay consistent, and watch what happens to your finances over the next 12 months.